everybody. My name's Brandon. I'm from the Today's Good podcast. Today I want to talk about families of the addicted or families of people that are using, alcoholics, drugs, whatever it may be. I've been noticing I follow a lot of addiction pages on Facebook, and I've noticed lately there's been an abundance of posts from families on not knowing what to do or trying to get help from people on those pages on if they're doing too much, if they're not doing enough, if they're making it to where it's easier for them to use, whatever it may be. But I definitely have noticed a lot of these posts, and I just wanted to give my input on the subject and definitely bring it to you guys from an addict's point of view, a recovered addict's point of view. A little backstory of me: when I got out of treatment, I did treatment now, I believe it's 16 months ago, been sober 17 months. My buddy did a podcast called the Get Real Podcast that was about trauma. That talked about trauma of anybody, not just addicts. It was trauma from people that had gone through certain things, how they had gotten through it, how they had recovered or bettered themselves. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't necessarily they got to addiction, but maybe they made bad choices. But what were the things that they did that got them through their scenario, their situation, and recovered them from that trauma? So when I got out of treatment, I got on that podcast with him. A lot of my addiction was definitely based off trauma. It was a trauma-based addiction for sure. Most of my treatment actually related to trauma, not addiction. So I did that podcast with him and told my story, and he wanted me to join that podcast on what's called the Get Real Podcast full-time. I went on I've been on a few different ones now, but after that started, we kind of wanted to do something different, maybe a blog style, advice, whatever it may be, like advice on a certain topic, but we didn't necessarily have to have a guest. So we started what's called the Today's Good. I actually started this Facebook page 3.5 years ago. Didn't really have the drive to want to publish that page, but that page was intended, when I first started thinking about it, was during COVID. It was intended to bring today's good. So today's good means today is good, but also today's good, like the things in today that are good. So it was about sharing posts and things that were supposed to bring positivity during a time that was so dark, and all the news was nothing but COVID, and everything was shut down, and everyone just lived in gloom. So it was to bring some good to those days. And I never did publish that page for multiple reasons. And after we started talking about doing this blog style, I was like, man, I got the perfect page. It was still in my Facebook pages, just not posted. So we ended up actually creating the Today's Good. And I think I said 2.5 years later, all based off of doing this podcast on my trauma with him. So today I'm coming to you from the Today's Good. We still do the Get Real podcast of people's traumatic stories, but this is definitely more for that Today's Good. So what I want to get to is all these parents and all this family that's concerned about what to do for an addict. I can tell you I've lived this on both ends. I've been the addict, and much before I was an addict, I've had family members, actually 2 siblings that are big users, and I definitely have been in both situations, so I really think I can bring a lot to you. I still am facing the fact of, after now being recovered, that my 2 siblings one sibling is still a user, and my little brother Tyler, he's now, don't quote me, I believe 10 months sober. Congrats, buddy. Keep it up. You're doing awesome. Tyler's definitely changed his outlook on this, and it definitely is on a good path. So we just got to keep that path going for him and keep it as easy as we can and not put any roadblocks in his way. And he's also got to do that for himself. So now my sister's still using. My mom, every day of her life, goes through so many emotions of being manipulated into trying to give her money, and the worry of if she's alive, the worry if she's lost her mind. It's just there's a lot of emotions going on. And I've talked to my mom about this a lot, and unfortunately, there's not a lot I can even get to my mom. So I'm not sure how much this is going to help you, but hopefully it brings something to some of you that are going through this and have been asking these questions. So every situation is going to be different. So, I mean, you can take the advice you can get from multiple people, which is the best thing you can do, is take as many perspectives as you can and make those perspectives fit your situation. I'm going to start with definitely having, I guess I took a few notes here. I'm going to start with sorry. Sorry to my family, sorry to everybody that I let down and that saw me go through this. But I want to say sorry from your family, from your user. Your user isn't capable of saying sorry right now. Your user is not capable of understanding what they're doing, not seeing their actions, not noticing it. So I want to say someday you will get this from them, and I hope you do. And if not, I want to say sorry from them, because they're not themselves, and right now they're incapable of seeing those things and being able to say that. So definitely that's what I wanted to start with, and I really want you to know they are sorry. It's just not in them right now. It took me a long time, even when when I went sober. One night when I went to bed, I said tomorrow's the day, and the next day I woke up and that was the day. And I've been sober ever since. No struggles, it's been an awesome journey. Definitely a story that doesn't fit most addicts, where there's a lot of, there's a relapse, there's falling back in. I mean, it's just been solid upward battle. My addiction was about 9-10 months strong, so definitely not as big as a lot of people's out there. Mine was, like I said, definitely from trauma, going through divorce and things like that. I definitely didn't know how to handle that trauma, and addiction became definitely my go-to there. So I'm not going to get into my story. That's not the purpose here. The purpose is to help you guys out. Now, patience is my next one. The hardest word in the world. How do you have patience when tomorrow they could be dead? How do you have patience when you know they're destroying their life? How do you have patience when you are so worried you can't sleep? That's the key, is trying to figure that out. It sounds stupid that I'm just going to have patience for them to get better. Well, you have to, because you can't control their recovery. You cannot control their using. I definitely live by, since I've been sober, you can only control the things you can control, and stop trying to control the things you can't. Well, you can't control it. You can support them, you can be there, but you can't make those decisions. And because you can't, you have to have patience. And now, patience looks like many different things. Is that patience while you stand by their side and don't condone their actions and make it worse, but also there's patience of, if you need to turn the other way and shut them out, or whatever satisfies you to make you feel less stressed, less emotion on your end, it's not affecting your life in that way. There is times, and don't feel bad if you have to turn the other way. That's okay. That's all right. I mean, a lot of people kind of had an idea I had something going on when I was doing it. They didn't know what I was doing necessarily, everybody. I definitely know there's people in my life that would have just turned away, would have blocked me out of their life until my recovery had happened. Now there's people that haven't let me back in even since the recovery, but the people that needed to come back and wanted to come back came back. If you need to turn the other way, it's about you. At the end of the day, it's about you. You can't ruin your life over this. You can't live your life in misery worried about this. I understand having all those emotions and everything, but you have to do it in a way that's healthy for you. And that definitely takes patience. And I hope to God that patience pays off for all of you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But you can't control that situation, and that's one thing you have to understand. You can give them tools, you can give them resources, you can give them support. You can tell them when, hey, you're ready to recover, I'm here for you, but you cannot control that situation. So, I don't know if it's talking to a counselor, if it's making notes, whatever it may be that you have to do to find those patients, I really recommend that. It is going to bring some peace back to your life for sure. So now we're going to go into pushing. You can't push these people. You can't push somebody out of it, because someone who's using thinks that they're doing the bad, like they're doing good. That in their mind, like, so my situation, I was using cocaine, okay? I was working 20 to 22 hours a day. I was trying to rebuild a life for me and my son post-divorce. In my mind, I was doing the right thing. I was able to stay awake. I was able to work more, to make more money, to get that place. And in my head, once I got there, I'll just quit using. And I thought I had full control of it. And I really did. I thought I had so much control of this that when I got to a certain point, I could go, okay, I'm done. Right? For a short period of time I did. And finally I came to that realization of I didn't have control of it. But then one day I did take control of it. I decided, tomorrow I'm going sober. No treatment, no nothing. I was sober 30 days, and I went, hey, you know what? I want to learn everything I can about this, and I want to ensure this never happens again in my lifetime for the sake of my child. So I went to an inpatient for 35 days, and actually I ended up going for only 28, but it was a 35-day program. They kind of decided, hey, you're ready. It's probably doing worse off for you to be here because of missing the family and everything. And we had addressed my trauma while I was there. But that's not the point of this. How my recovery happened is not where we're going with this. I wasn't pushed. I was pushed by people to tell them what was going on. They kind of had an idea. I wasn't going to tell people until I was ready. I wasn't going to get the help until I was ready. Because I thought I was doing the right thing. I really did. And I thought I had full control. So you're not going to tell me I got to get help with something that I could quit tomorrow if I wanted to quit. I don't want to quit because I'm doing it for a reason, right? And it slowly took from my life and slowly destroyed things, and slowly it destroyed relationships. It took money. It destroyed who I was. It destroyed my mental capacity. It destroyed the way I processed things in the world. Destroyed my outlook on the world. Destroyed my goals. Destroyed who I was over time. And as that continues on, you get farther and farther away from that person that knows that using is not good. You get farther and farther away from being able to have that outlook of not wanting to be a user, or that your worth is more than being a user. So it's a vicious deal that addiction goes on longer and longer. You get more addicted, your habits, your trait, all those things come around to that addiction. But now also you're so much farther away from that person that never would have wanted to be a user. That's the challenge here. How do you bring somebody that's that far away from reality and that far away from who they were and their goals and their positive outlook on life, and how do you get them to that point? And the answer is, you can't. They have to do that. Nobody was there that night that I said tomorrow, and nobody. I was by myself the night I decided tomorrow's the day. Nobody was there pushing me. Nobody was there talking to me about it. Nobody was there to encourage, nothing. The next day I got up and I messaged a buddy that came and got me, and I went through withdrawal at his house and things like that. Now, I got the support, but he didn't make that decision. I called him after making that decision of what I was going to do, and I had already hit that aha reality of it's going to happen. It was going to happen. It did not matter. Like I said, I don't even know how long it is. June of 2022 is when I went sober. We're now in September of 2023. So definitely, it's been an awesome journey. I was correct. It's close to 16 months. So You have to now apply not pushing and patience. They go together. You have to have patience for that person to come to that. Like I said, you can give them resources, give them the tools, give them maybe the things that will make them, that are important to them, present those things to them. But you can't be frustrated when it doesn't work. What worked for me is not going to work for somebody else. I know tons of addicts with kids, and the kid hanging in front of them, and the kid seeing them as an addict or not wanting it, that hasn't made an impact. My sister that's still a user, she was the most amazing mom ever before using. Amazing mom. She's now been MIA from her son's life pretty much for 3 years. And every time she thinks she wants to get sober and she starts to have that, that's what's different is a lot of people know they want to and they slowly get to that, or they slowly try to, or they think and they start. Me, it was just boom, it's happening. But unfortunately, most people, they get this idea in their head, they want to, they're going to, and then they slip back up a week later, 3 days later, some people the same day, right? Or an hour later. But every time she has this idea of getting sober or wants to, or is put in a situation where she's gone, we've had her admitted a few times, she's been in jail a couple times, and every time she gets sober, or she is sober and goes through that withdrawal and comes out of it, she starts to talk to her kid right away. That's the first thing she wants to do. She's communicating with her child. And it's bullshit for the child. And we as family have been very careful about how much we expose that to him. He's 10 years old. He knows what's going on in a certain way. He knows mom's not good, knows mom's not healthy. And she brings this hope to him when she says she's going to get better and get help and whatnot. And then he's let down again. So we've been very careful on how much we expose him to that. But that kid was the most important thing in the world to her. It's the thing she goes to first every time, but it's not strong enough. Somehow, after she's got that communication back and it makes her so happy, that's not strong enough to get her to stay and stick to the path. Unfortunately, she's been admitted into, court ordered to go to treatment now, I think, 2 to 3 times, and she runs the first day every freaking time. She needs a freaking ball and chain is what she needs. I'm not sure you get tired of anything or anything. She just chew through it. She needs a ball and chain, something to slow her down. But just hopefully long enough that she's in the building long enough that she learns something that makes her stick. That's unfortunately she is literally the same day. The day she gets there has ran 3 times. So, and all 3 of those are like at times when the kid's back in the life, the family's back in the life. She's been sober for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, and it's out of that mindset. She still falls back, and this is tough for me to speak from because like I said, I just chose. I did it. It was done. Don't get me wrong. There was times where I knew I wanted to, or I knew I should and didn't. But when I wanted to, I wanted to. So that was kind of one of my other bullet points. The things that matter. What's going to make them have that aha, that reality? You can't do that for them. You can't say, I know it's the kid. I know the kid's going to be what makes them do that. I know it's going to be this. I know it's going to be that. You can't, even if you present that in front of them, it's frustrating because you know it's probably the answer, but you can't make it snap in their head. You can't make it be a thing in their mind. It may be, how many times I thought about my son and the fact of this? A lot. And it just, one night hit me. He doesn't have his dad. I'm an awesome person. I'm an amazing person. I always have been. I've always been about helping people. I love helping. Clearly, look what I'm doing. I've had a very good career. I've always taken care of the people around me. And all of a sudden, I was that guy that needed help. It was weird. Really weird for me. But I knew the person that Caden, that's my son Caden, he's almost 3 now, but I knew the person that I could be for him. I knew the dad I could be. I knew I was an amazing dad. I knew I had always lived to be a dad. I wanted to be a dad my whole life. And I am. I'm an awesome dad. But I thought about that many, 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 many times before it really, that one time went, what the hell? Tomorrow's the day he gets him back. Why am I doing this? I don't know what happened, why or what. I mean, I just walked home 6 miles, no shoes, in a bad situation that I put myself in that night. So was that maybe enough to make it happen? Damn right, probably. 3 a.m., cold, walking on concrete, no shoes. Yeah, your feet hurt like hell. That definitely sucked, and I didn't want to do that again. So I don't know. It was just the situation, kind of where I had been, that had put things right and aligned things right for me. And that's definitely one thing I was going to say is the alignment of all the things. The alignment of the want to get sober, the alignment of the thing in front of them that is going to get them there, the alignment of feeling the support, the alignment of not feeling judged, the alignment of the right treatment. There's so many things that have to align for everything to go right and for it to stick. And my situation, it was just, I did a lot of it, and then, like I said, for 30 days, I didn't even do treatment. I didn't even get any help whatsoever for that first 30 days. I just did it because I wanted to do it. Every day I sat down I forced myself for usually 3 to 4 hours. I would watch YouTube videos on addiction and definitely get the knowledge and get the things I wanted. My intention was not at those 35 days or 30 days of sobriety to go to a 35-day inpatient by any means. I was learning a lot from YouTube. I felt good about it. I felt good as sober. I felt really good about what I was doing. But like I said, the one day I just went, I want to learn more. I want this to be in my face 24 hours a day for those 35 days. Because if it's in my face 24 hours a day, I'm definitely going to learn more. It's going to be a bigger part of my life. But also I knew it was going to be uncomfortable. And I wanted to be uncomfortable. I wanted this situation to be as uncomfortable as possible because I want to be in it again. So, I'm going to leave my family, I'm going to leave the kids, I'm going to leave, at the time, my wife, who we had tried to work things out at this point, and I was staying there through that beginning of my sobriety. I wanted to have to do that. I wanted to imprison myself, more or less. Because I wanted to go through it and know damn well I didn't want to go through it again. And it sucked. Yes and no. I met a lot of amazing people in treatment. And that's one thing is we all sit there and go, this is not them. This is not that person. They're not that kind of person. They were such a good person. You're right. Because when I was at treatment, I'll tell you right now, I was in a building full of 35, 40 addicts, right? Probably some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. And I'm not just saying that. And it's not just because we went through the things we were going through together. It was literally Sean Heyman. Peace, bro. You're an awesome dude. Sean's got a Chicago. He's a college, soccer coach, personal trainer. Sean was just one of those guys that you never would have pictured in that place. He, every day, was running around the building like clockwork on it because he still had to work out. He definitely has the look of a guy that definitely wouldn't have struggles. He comes from a pretty good off situation. Crazy thing is he was, I think he still is, but he was getting a divorce or going to possibly. It was up in the air. There was a lot of back and forth at that time, but his in-laws paid for the treatment. Like this guy just, you never would have pictured. And Sean was such an inspiration to me, but there was also days that Sean would get down and I would help Sean. So Brady, you're an awesome dude. I love Brady. I've helped Brady a lot, actually. For the first 8-10 months out of treatment, I talked to Brady once a week, help Brady with recovery, help Brady stay on a path. But Brady at times it helped me with my stress and when I got low and I'm still dealing with a really stressful, traumatic situation that I'm able to stay sober through, thank God. But he definitely brought me out of the slumps on some nights. Not that I was ever worried about relapsing, but definitely was not in a happy place like I typically am or in a place I could help people. And Brady did bring me back a couple times, which is crazy because the purpose of me and Brady talking a lot of times was definitely me to helping Brady be in that place and to help control. Brady comes from an abusive family and he carries a lot of anger with that, and he knows he doesn't want it. Actually, at treatment, he threatened to fight me and wanted to fight and was screaming in my face, and ended up the day after I got out, the man's messaging me wanting help and advice. It was crazy, but Brady, I love you. I think the important thing is here is obviously not getting into details with them, is that these people are good people. I'm telling you, that building was full of good people. People with struggles, though, and everybody struggles in some way. But these guys, and I started noticing, I wanted to go there for trauma. The program I did was not a 12-step program. It was called Smart Recovery. A lot of it is based off of trauma and looking at those things and seeing the things that have led you to that path. And I chose that. I didn't want a 12-step. I knew the kind of program I needed, and I knew going there I needed to address trauma. And that was a big part of me leaving home too, was stepping away from that environment so I could recover from the trauma that had happened through my divorce and the things that had happened. And we're not going into detail, but I will definitely share the link to my story on this. So if you guys want to watch my story on my recovery and my trauma and what happened to me, you guys can watch that and see that. But I don't remember where I was going with that. Oh, it wasn't that 12-step type, and that trauma is, you have to understand that there's many reasons people become an addict. And I truly, truly do believe most addiction is based out of trauma or environment. And I think even if it is environment and there wasn't necessarily really traumatic things that happened, they were brought up in an environment that wasn't teaching of being a different way. There's people that obviously grew up in using households and it seems like that's just what you do. There's people that have that trauma of childhood. There's people that have adulthood trauma that goes to it. I mean, people may use 20 years after their trauma of the childhood that they haven't got over that trauma somehow because they haven't got the help they need and family ignores it, whatever it is. But then there's me I just became an addict through the trauma. So, definitely, I think addressing that trauma with your family is a big one. Admitting the things you've done. This is actually really big too. As a family, maybe you need to get together and realize the things that you as a family have done that have caused that. I don't know what your story is. I don't know if you necessarily have it. I don't know if it was a spouse or whatever. And like I said, there's some that's not based on trauma either. So I'm just coming from the trauma based on this. But bring those things to them. And as a family, make a list of things you're sorry about. Make a list of things that you can take ownership for. Because I can tell you right now, if you're putting some fault on what you've done and the fault on towards that situation away from the person that's using, they're going to be more comfortable. They're going to feel like, okay, they're admitting their faults. They're sorry for their faults. I'm going to admit mine. And they're going to address maybe that addiction. They may not. They may spiral into nope, you did this, and this too. I mean, I don't know if this is going to work, but definitely putting some, a user's, this is kind of my thought process, right? As a user, you're in a bad place. You're not doing what technically reality would call the norm. So you're down here in your mind, right? I'm sitting on this level. And the people that aren't using are up here. And they definitely think they're up here. Or you have that mindset of, they just think they're better than me, whatever it is. Or that you just, in reality, they are up here. Because they have the sense of reality. They have the sense of, they're not doing the things that a user does. They're not stealing. They're not whatever it may be. But anyways, if you can take that gap and make them feel like that gap's a little bit smaller, right? And the more things you take ownership of and the more things you put fault at, it evens that playing field. And they definitely become more comfortable as that gap lessens. And they may open up. They may be able to now have a conversation with you that they weren't able to have. You may be able to now put those things in front of them that mean something and it have an impact because they want to listen to you and they're now looking at you as a different person. You're not coming from this high horse, right? That's big. And I faced that. I have family that I knew was going to judge me and stuff, and I don't think I could have ever had that conversation with them because of where they were and where I was. I didn't think they would ever understand. I didn't think they would ever get it. And that's another thing. Tell them you understand. Tell them you get it. And you should. And if you don't get it, you don't understand, go get help. There's programs for that. For family, so they do understand. Maybe you need to do that first. Maybe that's a step in his recovery, is the people around him going and doing a program that makes them understand, so they can come from that perspective and they can close that gap and now bring that aha to them. Definitely, I think this is a big key here. Or talking to an ex-user. I'm open to talking to anybody. You guys have family that you want to have reach out to me. I definitely am not going to try to start that conversation, because it can cause negative effects on your end that, oh my God, my family, But if you want to have someone reach out to me that is going through this and needs some help, I'm 100% open to talking about that any day of the week, and I love helping people. Honestly, my addiction is now turned into a positive thing in my life, and I chose that. I didn't want it to be a negative thing. It definitely could be. It's a positive thing because I get to do things like this and I get to help addicts. So, we get to have that choice as addicts. Is our addiction a positive thing? Are we going to learn from it? Are we going to do things with it that are for the good? Or are we just going to sit and pity and mourn on this damn thing? No. Even though it's still screwing with my life and is still taking my kid away from me 16 months later of sobriety, whatever, we're not getting into that, but I still choose for it to be a positive thing. It even overcomes that because I do this. I talk to people. I've helped many people through their recovery, starting their recovery. Has it worked? Definitely, I can tell you, there's people I've talked to that are still sober. How much I made an impact on that, I don't know. But I definitely talk to people I think that are using again too. So it's all about the person and the situation. Now, definitely, I'm going to hit this one more time. This is the key to this and the important part. And this is definitely to answer a lot of your question, I think. From my standpoint, this is the answer to your question. Closing that gap. Making them comfortable. Making them feel like they're not judged. And I don't care whether you want to or not. And even if you don't think it's going to help, I highly, highly recommend, if you haven't been a user, you aren't an ex-addict, you need to go do a program. There's tons of them out there. There's in person, there's online, tons of programs out there that teach you about your user and their addiction and makes you become understanding to that addiction and getting what's going on, because it is easy to judge. Most people do judge it. I judged it up until I was a user. I mean, for the most part, until kind of the very end, maybe I didn't, because I had gone through those things with family long enough that I did have some feel bad for them and sympathy, definitely, but I highly suggest one of those programs, and I highly, highly suggest you get it done now. Because when they get into that point, maybe they do come to that point of recovery and they come to that point that they want help, it makes you so much easier to close that gap. It makes you so much more open. It gives you the knowledge to help them. But what happens tomorrow if they come to you, they want help, and you come from a point that isn't understanding, you make them feel uncomfortable, and they revert and they run right back to using. Do it now. So if they ever do come to you, you can come from that perspective. You can come from that angle. You can learn the things you need to learn right now. That's a big step in the recovery when it comes to that point. I do it. Just do it. Get your ass off here. When you're done with this, pull up Google it. Get it done. Whether, like I said, you don't even have to go do it publicly. There's so many of them online. Or you want to even do one-on-one video chats with me. I'm 100% open to doing that. I'm not a specialist by any means. I have not perfected this, but I can give you everything I can give you. And I can listen to your situation and do anything I can do. But I'm still going to guide you into doing one of those programs. I'm still going to push you to do that. Now, if you need help doing it, you need whatever, I'm there. Or even while you're doing it, you want some extra help, I'm there. But definitely one of those programs is a big answer here. And that's also going to give you the piece of you've done all you can do. You definitely have. And there's definitely some guilt and some more in there from a lot of people. If I didn't do enough, I'm not doing enough. I could do more for them. I can do the program. It's going to give you that. It's going to satisfy that internal feeling of needing to feel like you're doing something for them. Now, like I said, you can't have the picture in your head of you're going to get them sober, because that is just a failing goal. That's just a constant failure every day of your life until they do get sober. You're going to feel like you fail every day, and you cannot live life feeling like a failure. You have to live life like you are doing the good, doing the best things you can, becoming the best person you can. And I definitely think that program is going to help you do that, because you're going to feel you're doing something for them. So, kind of the one thing I really wanted to share here, and I'm going to wrap this up. It's getting a little long, definitely, but I wear this bracelet every day, okay? And you can see on that bracelet some letters. Now, where I went to treatment, this bracelet came from where I went to treatment, St. Gregory's, Bayard, Iowa. Great program. I suggest even people out of state take on this program. But it's in western Iowa, outside of Des Moines. Great freaking program. Like I said, Smart Recovery. Look into Smart Recovery, by the way. Google Smart Recovery. If 12-step has not helped a person that has tried to get treatment and they've gone back or whatever. I read a post this morning from a lady, and actually that's what encouraged me to finally do this. Her son had been in treatment 23 times. Was addicted to fentanyl. Every day this lady's looking for her dead son. 23 times. Now, is that 23 12-step recovery programs? I don't know. But I can tell you Smart Recovery is definitely different. There's very few of them out there, so very few addicts on the grand scheme of things have gone through Smart Recovery, and I think it's the answer for most. Look it up, Smart Recovery, but also St. Gregory's Recovery, Bayard, Iowa. Google that too, and if you need this information, you're welcome to message me on the backside. But anyways, this bracelet came from there, right? It has all these letters. And it's called the Virtues. The virtues is important. So I can give you them. There's P, J, F, T, F, H, L, okay? Prudence, justice, fortitude, temperance, faith, hope, and love. And these are things for addicts to live by through their sobriety, and to make them love, to make them like the things that are going to make it click, and they're going to have faith in things, they're going to have hope. They're great. But for me, they weren't even the big thing about the virtues that made the impact and made the difference. You know what it was? When I left treatment, when I went to treatment, I had this bracelet on, right? And I turned it and put it on first time. I haven't taken it off since. I've worn this thing 16 straight months. And I put it on naturally this way to where the letters, I can read them. And if I am having a problem, I definitely would read them. And it was a good reminder. But the day that Big was like, oh, this is a positive. I'm in a really good place. You know how I knew I was in a really good place? Without even thinking about it, I took this damn bracelet and I went, I'm in a place for other people to read it and ask me questions and me to be able to help those people. I faced the letters out. I don't need those letters facing me anymore. I got to turn those letters around because I'm in a place where I can do that, and it's such a good feeling. And I promise you, I can't promise you. That's the sad thing, I guess. And we have to face that reality is I can't promise you they're going to recover. I can't promise you that they're not going to pass, that something's not going to happen. All I can do is hopefully bring a little bit of positive back to you, doing the program, definitely getting rid of those days of feeling like a failure, definitely feeling like you're not doing enough. That's key here, what you need to do for yourself. But I can't promise you that, but I can tell you, hopefully there's a majority of you that get to feel that and get to see that happen, and your family gets, your whoever it is to you, can be at a point where they can turn that bracelet around. And if you ever want one of these bracelets, get a hold of me. I've got tons of them, but I can definitely get a hold of St. Gregory's and get more, and I can give you the definitions and the meanings behind that bracelet. Even if you just want to wear it for addiction awareness. People ask me constantly, what's that bracelet? What are you wearing? What does that mean? What does that say? So even as a non-user, if you want to wear one to bring awareness to it, and then you can lead them in the direction of these people that maybe, I'm not a user, but my cousin is, my son is, and you can now share the information and the things you've learned with those people. Get a hold of me. I'll get you a bracelet. I don't know what that is for you if you want to help people. Definitely, it's nice to know that bringing that in front of people helps. So if any of you want to reach out, you're welcome to reach out. Don't feel like you can't. I hope this helped a little bit, gave a little bit of answers. I know it's not the answer for everybody. I know it's not going to be the end result answer, but I definitely hope it's bringing some peace to you too. But go find that sense of non-failure every day. Do the program, but do not let this overwhelm your life, because you still need to live yours. They will choose to live theirs when they want to live theirs. Just give them the tools and the resources and back off and know that's enough. That's all you can do. All right, everybody. Love y'all. Thank you. Again, reach out if you need anything. This is Brandon from the Get Real Podcast. Follow us on Facebook. I will share the link to that on this post, but also the Today's Good podcast too. And I definitely think if you guys want to follow that, it can bring some more of that help to you. I've got a couple other episodes on addiction and fault and things like that on the Today's Good. But follow us on Facebook. Can't wait for you guys to follow and reach out if you need to reach out. Thank you, everybody.
Things you've done to get them better than any man, yeah. 'Cause mama, I miss you and I wish that I could change. Yeah, I'd do anything I can for the lady who gave me my name. Just to know that it's not your fault. Without you, I'd be nothing at all. Change. Yeah, I'll do anything I can for the lady who gave me my name. Just to know that it's not your fault. Without you, I'd be nothing at all. No, I'd be nothing.